South African Federation of Trade Unions says it welcomes the cabinet decision to recall diplomats from Israel, but believes it is inadequate. They demand the immediate expulsion of the Israeli ambassador and the closure of the Israeli embassy. And this follows the continued bombardment of Gaza, the mass killing by Palestinians in Gaza by Israel. Meanwhile, International Relations Minister Dr. Naledi Pandor says there's nothing unusual about recalling its envoys. She also called for an immediate end to hostilities in the Middle East during a meeting with Ukraine's Foreign Affairs Minister. And to talk about this further, I'm being joined on the news by SAFTU spokesperson Trevor Shaku. Good afternoon, Mr. Shaku.
Good afternoon, and thanks for having us.
All right. Now, we understand that the minister in the presidency has given a directive to International Relations Department on what to do with Israeli ambassador to South Africa. What are your thoughts on these stands?
Look, we have welcomed the fact that the South African cabinet decided to recall the last diplomats who were part of who were in the diplomatic house since the withdrawal of the ambassador in 2018. Now, the last staff of the diplomats who were remaining in that country have been recalled. However, what we expressed yesterday was that we are not necessarily thinking that this is adequate, because we think an adequate measure in this instance would have been to, one, ensure that you expel the Israeli ambassador in South Africa, but two, close the Israeli embassy, and thirdly, ensure that you expel the foreign direct investments from the South African economy, because that is actually where we can be able to head these people and show concretely that we are in support of the Palestinian people, and we are in solidarity with them in this plight where mass bombardments have been carried on, killing young people, killing children, killing old people, and the indiscriminate bombardment of buildings, which has unfortunately destroyed shelters of people, houses of people, including public institutions such as hospitals. In fact, a report that was released this morning showed that more than 50 hospitals have been bombarded. More than or around 200 of the emergency vehicles to transport people to hospitals and clinics have also been bombarded. And
but
this
Trevor,
goes to also show.
Trevor, just to cut in there, do you think South Africa not having any representative in Israel would in any way impact or influence peace talks?
75 years of peace talks. We don't think there can be any peace talks that at the current moment will bear results. What should bear results, in our view, is the isolation of Israel. Isolation of Israel from the economy globally, isolation of Israel from diplomatic relations internationally, isolation of Israel from participating in international sporting and cultural activities. And this, in our view, will go a long way in showing the Israeli racist regime that is currently carrying out the genocide against the Palestinian people, that we, as the people of the world, are not approving of the carnage that they are carrying out, the genocide that is carried out, the ethnic cleansing that is carried out in that particular part of the land. Remember, what also is a problem and what we thought is illustrative of the genocidal intentions of the Israeli government at this current moment has been a report which came out saying that the Minister of Heritage is suggesting that a nuclear bomb must be dropped in Gaza to kill the more than 1 million to 2 million people that are residing in that particular part of land. And those are the Palestinians. This, in our view, is a clear expression of people who are clearly and intending to genocide the people of Palestine. There cannot be peace talks. There should be isolation of Israel. And this is supposed to start with our own countries, with our own governments in our own countries. And that includes the expulsion of ambassadors, the withdrawal of ambassadors, the closing of the embassies in both lands, in both countries rather. And this has to go on where we appeal our government to lobby other African countries to do the same, because we can't continue to do this. How
Mr.
many
Shaku,
more should die before
yes,
we accept that there's a genocidal intent here?
Mr. Shaku, as concerned as you sound, do you think the international community is doing enough in trying to quell or stop this conflict happening?
I don't think there's enough that is being done. I mean, the international solidarity movement of working class people has been going on, but there is intermittent support where there's a fluctuation of intensity of the solidarity campaigns, and at some point they subside. Whenever there are missiles that are thrown into Gaza or in other Palestinian territories, we come out and cry and only at that time intensify the campaigns. But whenever there is the missiles are silenced, we also go back to our normal lives, and that cannot be. So the international solidarity movement with the Palestinian people has been to a certain extent effective, but has not been entirely effective. On the part of our governments have done nothing actually, because they've not yet divested from Israel. They've not yet expelled foreign direct investments from Israel. In addition to this, and this of course comes to us as the organizations and formations of the working class people across the world, we have not intensified our campaigns around boycotts, because we have to have economic boycotts, not only call for boycotts on sporting and cultural activities, but ensure that we intensify economic boycotts. Remember, these are capitalists, and because they are capitalists, they're interested in profits. So their investments in our own countries is only interested in ensuring that there will be earnings, and these earnings recorded in terms of profits and dividends to the shareholders, who are the Israeli and the supporters of the Israeli regime. So in our view, we have to ensure that we intensify economic boycott, that is to stop buying goods and products that are having Israeli investments or that are produced from Israeli investments. In this country, as we speak, we have Clover that is producing dairy products. You have Cape Union Mart, which is producing clothing for our people. So we have to start there and intensify economic boycotts against these products, and that will hurt the sales of those particular companies, and as a result hurt the investments of those people. We need to begin to have government that declares that we are not going to accept any investments from the Israeli racist imperialists who come into our country merely because to exploit and
that's the most we can take. Thank you so much for your time on the news, Trevor Shaku. Thank you so much. SAFTU spokesperson, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.